And what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Have At It. This is episode 77. My name is Ben Cornett. How is everybody doing tonight on this Friday night? It is January 10th, 2025. And yes, starting tomorrow, we start the Super Bowl run for 12 teams that are in the field right now. Or I'm sorry, 14 teams. Still thinking of playoff past. But yes, for 14 teams, it is the opportunity to win a Super Bowl in New Orleans on February 9th, and that begins tomorrow. So, with that being said, once again, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm doing pretty good, and was able to get some time tonight here on Friday. Now, I did say on the last episode that I will be doing random have at it. Won't be like a set time or day. It's just going to be whenever I'm available. Luckily tonight I'm available, so I did one on Monday, and yeah, thought it went pretty good. We just got caught up with some NFL stuff. So yeah, we're right here right now. In the background here, I got the college football playoff. It is tied right now at 14 between Ohio State and Texas. Texas just got a touchdown a little bit ago. Um, it's been kind of a weird game. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's kind of doesn't. It's not as exciting as it was last night between Penn State and Notre Dame. By the way, Notre Dame ended up winning that game over Penn State, and I'm not going to lie to you. If you know who I am. And by the way, before I get into that, give me a like, share, and subscribe. You're watching this on my YouTube channel at Ben Cornett 9015. That's Ben Cornett 9015. Yeah, give me a like, share, and follow. Appreciate that. You're watching on the Ben Zone on Facebook. And if you're not in the Ben Zone, if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you can just watch it on my page. So yeah, but as people know, I'm not going to hide this, but I do not like Notre Dame. I can't stand them. And I was hoping Penn State would pull off the upset. Now I did pick Notre Dame to win the game, but I was hoping I'd be wrong on that one, but not. There's another team I don't like, and that's Ohio State. So I'm having this like real dilemma here that we're gonna have a Notre Dame Ohio State national title game, and that just kind of irks me a little bit. Yeah, so hopefully Texas can help me out here tonight. I doubt it, but I don't trust Quinn Ewers. I don't know. I mean next year it's going to be Arch Manning's team, so whatever. But we got some comments in the section. Let me get to those comments real quick. Let's see here. Tampa Bay Rays fan, thanks for tuning in tonight. His comment is this: what is your take on Carson Beck to Miami? Not bad. I like it. I definitely think he needed another year in college. Obviously, it was unfortunate that he went down with the injury in the SEC championship game against Texas. But you know, Gunnar Stockton's going to take over the team, so for Beck, why not? I mean, these days with the NIL, you can go anywhere you want. So, yeah, Miami's a pretty good destination. I mean, look what it did for Cam Ward this year. Now he's probably going to be the number one pick in the draft. If I'm Tennessee, by the way, I would definitely draft a quarterback. Normally, I'm one of those guys that if you have the top pick and you need multiple positions filled, you would trade down and get as many picks as you can to build your team. However, seeing that they need a quarterback and that Will Levis is not the answer, let's face it, he's just not. He can go do mayonnaise commercials from now on, but I think they got to draft a quarterback. And unfortunately, this is not the year that we have a good quarterback class like we did this past draft, where you had 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. Actually, the 6 quarterbacks with the first 12 picks. So I think if you're Tennessee, you got to draft a quarterback. I'm sorry. As far as Carson Beck goes, good move. Another year, to elevate his stock. Miami's a good place to do that. So it helped Cam Ward, it can definitely help Carson Beck. And Tampa Bay Rays fan 2008 says, "Do you think Drew Aller will stay another year?" I think he should. I was real disappointed in him last night. That interception was a killer, man. Late in the game like that. Normally he doesn't make those kind of mistakes, but in that moment he had a brain fart and Notre Dame got the pick and ended up having Mitch Jeter hit the game-winning field goal. So, but I think it would be good for Aller, get another year in. You know, Penn State, I know they got Abdul Carter, the defensive end. He's going to be, heading into the NFL draft, supposedly. We'll see. But, yeah, I think Drew should stay another year. Jim Melvin, thanks for tuning in tonight, man. How you doing? Both the semi-final games seem similar to me. One team dominating for a while and the momentum then suddenly switching without much warning. Yeah, Jim, I mean, this one, I don't know, it's just not as fun as last night's game. At least the Penn State game gave me hope that they could pull off the upset over Notre Dame. But this game, that last touchdown by Texas was more, it was just a mistake on Ohio State. The corner got caught looking and, must have been a missed assignment and they were able to get the touchdown on that deep throw. So, it just feels like Ohio State's winning by like 3 touchdowns. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, again, I'm not really impressed with Texas. Ohio State should win this game, but I do hope that Texas wins. I don't want to see Ohio State in Notre Dame. I just don't. There's 3 teams I hate in college football: Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Florida. So we're going to see 2 of those teams possibly be in the national title game, which just makes my stomach even growl more. Ugh. But hopefully Texas can do me a solid tonight. We'll see. Tampa Bay Rays fan 2008. Will NFL ratings continue to drop next year, especially the quality of quarterback play in the NFL? Not really. I mean, I think the quarterback play has been pretty good. And look at this class we got, Tampa Bay Rays fan, 2008. I mean, listen, like, I know Caleb Williams, he needs to get an offensive line to protect him and a coach, somebody that believes in him. But, Drake May showing some promise. Bo Nix, he's in the playoffs. Jaden Daniels in the playoffs. Michael Penix Jr., finally getting the keys handed over to him for the Falcons. I mean, this is a good quarterback class. And, the NFL is not going to drop off. The ratings might drop off a tad, but they're still the number 1 sport in America. And, they dominate both the regular season and the off season. So, I'm not worried about it. I think everything will be fine. So tonight, everybody, we're going to get into the NFL wildcard playoffs. As you know, like I said earlier, we got 6 games, 2 tomorrow, Saturday, and we also got 3 on Sunday and 1 on Monday night. And I have to say, like, these are going to be some very fascinating games. I'm looking forward to them. Why don't we start out with the Saturday game that will kick off the wild card Saturday. It'll be the LA Chargers at the Houston Texans. And before I get into that, I just want to say my thoughts and prayers that go out to the people in LA over Southern California. Horrible thing that's going on right now. Everybody losing their homes to these fires. Just very unfortunate. So I'd send my positive vibes, prayers, and thoughts to them. The people in LA that have been affected by this, and it's just unfortunate, no matter what you think of California, anything like that, you don't ever want to see anybody lose their homes. It's where you call home. It's a place, you have your memories there. Just sad. It really is. So anyway, my thoughts and prayers to them in LA who's ever been affected. So That being said, we got the Chargers and the Texans now. The Chargers, who hired Jim Harbaugh this year, has turned that team around, looking great. Got his franchise quarterback Justin Herbert, his franchise offensive tackle Joe Alt he drafted. Good running game, solid receivers. Defense is really good. You know, Derwin James is having a career year. You know, Khalil Mack came out and he's starting to have a career renaissance. Meanwhile, the Texans been kind of going the opposite way. They've been going downhill. I know last week they won. They beat Tennessee. I mean, anybody can do that. But anyway, the Texans have been started off good, but then it's just been a disappointment ever since then. A lot of it's the offensive line. They're just not very good. Can't protect C.J. Stroud. You know, now you got film on him, and hasn't really been quite the same quarterback. Lost one of his receivers for the year. You got Joe Mixon, still the running back who's good, but I look at this game. I like the Chargers on the road. I think right now they got more momentum. I just worry about that Texans offensive line. I really am. Can they protect CJ for 4 quarters? You know, that's going to be the thing. And can the Texas defense keep the Chargers offense off the field? That's another thing. You know, because the Chargers are going to run the ball. You know, with Gus Edwards, you know, they got a solid running game, and that milks the clock. I just don't know if they can do that. The Texans, that is. So I'm going to go with the Chargers to beat the Houston Texans in this game. We'll go 27-20. Should be quite a game, but I like the Chargers in this one. I do. I like them by a touchdown. Blackie Lawless, thanks for tuning in. He's on Facebook. He says that Northwestern wins the national championship next week. Well, you know, there's no bigger fan of Northwestern than Mr. Blackie Lawless, and you know, who knows? You never know. And Blackie agrees with me. He picking the Chargers too. But he has it by 2 scores, so 30-17. That'd be interesting for sure. Then we got Jim Melvin. Thanks, Jim, for the comment again. Still amazes me how the Bucks were able to thoroughly dominate the Chargers in the second half of that game. Yeah, I know. I mean, whatever happened, whatever Bulls did or Baker did, Mike Evans did, I mean, turned their fortunes around in that game, and that was a big win. And then we stunk it up against Dallas. So, but we'll get into those the Bucks and the Commanders in a little bit. Saturday night. It's going to be, I believe, the first playoff game on Prime Video. So hopefully everybody's got Prime Video. If not, it is a 30-day free trial. Check it out. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. So it's round 3 of this AFC North rivalry. I consider one of the best rivalries in football today. The Ravens won the last one a few weeks ago. Excuse me. They will be back in Baltimore for this game. Baltimore, the 3 seed. The Steelers, the 6 seed. This is an interesting game as well. I'm going to pick the Ravens to beat the Steelers. I don't trust the quarterback play. And Russell Wilson is he's not the Russell Wilson of Seattle. Let's get that out of the way. He's a shell of his former self. The Steelers are going to win this game. They got to run the ball really well. And, you know, Najee Harris, you know, Warren, they got to run the ball very well. And to have a chance. I just don't see it happening. You know, Baltimore, they're determined to get to the Super Bowl this year. And, you know, yes, you know, these kind of games, you know, if you're a Ravens fan, you kind of worry because, you know, you see these guys twice a year already. They know you. Do I think the Steelers will put the best effort forward? I do. You know, early on it might be close, but I just think the Ravens are too much right now, especially at home. So I'm going to go with the Ravens over the Steelers. Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to have a good game. Same thing with Derrick Henry. I know they don't have Zay Flowers for this game. He's out. That hurts a bit, but I don't think it'll matter because we still got Mark Andrews tight end, Derek Lively. They'll be fine. I think they'll be okay. I got the Ravens beating the Steelers 23-17. We'll go with that score. And Blackie Lawless goes with the Ravens as well. He picks it 28-20. All right. Jim says, I see it relatively close first half. Baltimore pulling away in the second half and winning big, 41-13. Ooh. All right. And he's got that one. He's got the Ravens blowing out the Steelers late. All right. So, with that being said, before I get to my Sunday picks, I'm going to pause the old cough medicine right there for you. So, by the way, this is Michelob Ultra. It's one of my favorite beers. It's the, by the way, the superior light beer. I do agree. I do like Miller Lite as well. So, but tonight it's Michelob, and it'll be Michelob again tomorrow night as well. So, anyway, I know you don't want to hear about my beer. Like, damn it, get to the games. All right, I will. Sunday we kick off with the Denver Broncos, who have made the playoffs for the first time since their Super Bowl win back in 2015. They are at the Buffalo Bills, and congratulations to them getting back into the playoff picture. Sean Payton's done a very good job with that team in his second year. They drafted Bo Nix, and I felt like that was a match made in heaven before the season started. Like, Bo's going to do really well for Sean Payton and that team, and that's what he's done. But I think the defense is just as good, if not better, than the offense for Denver. They're going to Buffalo, though. This is a very, very tough environment. The Bills, they've been there, done that, and look, Buffalo, they're trying to get to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen's trying to get to the Super Bowl for the first time in his career. He's been close once before. He got to the AFC Championship game a few years ago, but the Bills have really not quite climbed that mountain yet. And this is one of those things where, are you tempted to pick the upset here? Tempting, but I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I think Denver will keep it close a little bit early, a little bit. But Buffalo's experience is going to, outdo the Broncos. I'm going with the Bills here to win the game in Buffalo over the Broncos, 31-21. That's my score for that game. I am going with the Bills. And Blackie as well says 24-10 Buffalo. Jim, I'm drinking low-calorie wine. Oh, look at you, Jim. Keeping it healthy. I like that. Keeping it both alcoholic and low carb. Excellent. Let's see. Jim says, I see this game mirroring the Ravens Steelers, relatively close first half, but the Bills pouring it on in the second half and winning 31-10. I can see that. Possibly. What did I go with? 31-21? Yeah. That's what I see the Bills doing when by double digits. All right. So, with that one being said, let's go on to the afternoon game. This one I'm really want to see. I'm really interested in this game. This is the Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Packers are the 7th seed, going up to Philly, the 2 seed. This is the battle of the running backs. You're thinking, oh, this is the battle of the quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, who, by the way, cleared concussion protocol, so he'll be available for that game against Jordan Love, who actually hurt his hand in the season finale against the Bears. But they say he's doing okay. He should be ready to go. But to me, this is the game of the running backs. This is Josh Jacobs against Saquon Barkley. You talk about 2 running backs, then Derrick Henry as well. You got to put it as a third, who really, before last year, we're thinking the running backs were just, kind of a dime a dozen. But now you're seeing this year how vital the running game is. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, leaving their teams for new teams. And as you can tell, I mean, Derrick Henry left the Tennessee Titans, went to the Ravens. Titans weren't the same. Josh Jacobs left the Las Vegas Raiders, the awful Las Vegas Raiders, who, by the way, fired Antonio Pierce and their GM, Tom Telesco, this week. They're just wiping the slate. And I've said this all the time on my shows, like the Raiders are the Raiders. They'll fire everybody every other year. So, but they're hoping Brady will save the day. We'll see about that. But anyway, Josh Jacobs goes from, obscurity to a playoff team in the Green Bay Packers. And then you got Saquon Barkley, who, sat out the last week of the season, could have broke Dickerson's record all time, but rested. And I think it's a good idea. Listen, records are records. I get that. But, how many opportunities you can have at a Super Bowl? So you want to keep your running back healthy, and that's what they did. So Saquon Barkley's made a big difference in the offense for Philly, helping Jalen Hurts out a lot. Man, this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be whose running game is going to be dominant. It's going to be the Packers. It's going to be the Eagles. Because both teams are going to stack the box, defensively. But it may come down to the receivers. Now Christian Watson is out for the Packers, out for the year with that torn ACL. Very unfortunate. So Jordan Love, he's got Jalen Reed. But I had the Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl, but I'm not feeling really good about it now because going to Philly, it's going to be a very tough environment. Eagles got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Good offensive line still. This is going to be a very close game, but I got the Eagles beating the Packers tomorrow. I'm going Philly over Green Bay in a very fun game. Could come down to the last play of the game. So give me the Eagles to beat Green Bay 30-27. That's my score. Blocky says Packers lead early, but the Eagles are too much. Eagles 34-21. Okay. I could see that. So I'm going Eagles as well. And Jim Melvin, he says if Jalen is 100%, I see the Eagles winning easily 37-20. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's going to come down to, whose running game is going to be more effective. It's going to be the Eagles or the Packers. Because again, both teams are going to stack the box. They're not going to let the running backs have their way. Maybe they'll have the quarterbacks, dare the quarterbacks to beat them. And, Jalen Hurts, I think he's a decent quarterback. I would give the slight edge to Jordan Love. But again, I wondered about that hand. Is his hand going to be okay? That's going to be the key. Sometimes Jordan Love has incredible games. And then there's some games where he makes some bad throws. And who knows which Jordan Love you're going to get. So right now, I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one. All right, so now, before we get to the Sunday night game and my favorite game of the week, because that's my team, gotta take another swig. We got the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a Sunday night game, prime time. We get primetime billing for this one. Obviously, because you got two exciting quarterbacks. You got the possibly rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels, who helped turn around this Washington Commanders team. Dan Quinn, the new head coach, coming over from Dallas. Man, they have made their mark this year, and they deserve to be where they're at. Meanwhile, my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers, winners of the NFC South for the fourth year in a row, and in the playoffs for the fifth time in a row. That is the longest playoff streak in the NFL currently. So Congratulations to the Bucks. Again, they, made us wait to win that division the last week of the year. I could go on and on about, about how they probably should have won this division weeks ago. It still irks me that we lost to Atlanta twice this year. Irks me that we even had to get to this point. Having an embarrassing loss to Dallas Sunday night, a few weeks ago, made things interesting. But the Buccaneers took care of business, won both games against Carolina and New Orleans, and they are now in the playoffs, get to host a playoff game, and also got the 3 seed out of it. So that was great. Didn't have to. They avoided the 4-5 matchup. Possibly having to play Minnesota. So with that being said, it is the Commanders that we're facing, and this is going to be an interesting game. Again, this is the rematch from Week 1. How ironic that the first game of the year was the Commanders, and now the first playoff games against the Commanders for the Buccaneers. And then, I'm going to get to the comment from Tampa Bay Rays fan, 2008. He says, key for the Bucs is to spy on Daniels and stop the run. Yeah, I do agree with that to an extent. Here's the thing with me, and I was on the show with Sean Spencer the other night, Washington Weekly. Shout out to him, Will Kramer. My key is they need to stop Zach Ertz. Tight ends have killed us this year, and for Zach Ertz, he's a veteran. Doesn't have that same speed, but he's a very savvy veteran who knows how to run his routes. Can still be physical with defenders, and to me, I think if we limit his, productivity, as defense does, that's where I think we can win this game. Now, I do worry that we don't have much of a pass rush. If your nose tackle leads the team in sacks, that's an issue with me. Should be your defensive ends, but we do need to get the J Dams, really make them uncomfortable all night long. And the one thing the Commanders did very well, and as Tampa Bay Rays fans said right there a minute ago, got to stop the run, because they did against in that game against Atlanta. They took like 7 or 8 minutes off the clock toward the end of the game. And that's the thing, is that we need to not give them long possessions, offensive possessions. Otherwise it's going to be tough for the Bucs offense to get on the field all night. So the defense needs to make plays. The offense for the Bucs, meanwhile, which I'm not worried about, because we got Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Bucky Irving. We got a very good offense. Now, if we can move the chains, run Bucky Irving, Rachaad White, who for some reason didn't play last week. I'm not sure why, but I don't know if he's in the doghouse or what, but I also think we need to play Sean Tucker a little bit, get him a few carries, and I think that will definitely help us out a lot. And then Baker, he did have an interception last week, but that ball was tipped. But still, we don't need the bad Baker. We need the good Baker who can make plays both in and out of the pocket, make those timely throws. Get Mike Evans involved. Jalen McMillan, who's become a very good number 2, especially replacing Godwin. But guys like Payne Durham stepped up big last week. Delvin Cope, he stepped up last week. We can get production out of those guys. Trey Palmer, and Miller, and our offensive line plays well, and cut down on those penalties, because last week was atrocious. We had 12 penalties for over 100 yards. That cannot happen again, especially in the postseason, because you're not going to do that to Washington. They have definitely matured and gotten better as the week's gone on. This is going to be a different team. Jaden Daniels is a different QB than he was week 1. The receivers, Brian Robinson being a better running back. Zacharias, Terry McLaurin They got weapons now. And then Marshawn Lattimore, he's on the Commanders now in that trade with the Saints. So we got another round of Lattimore and Mike Evans. That should be fun. So this is going to be a very, very good game. But again, it's going to come down to, which defenses step up and which quarterbacks play well. Honestly, because I do think we have the advantage with the run game, but however, Washington's getting better running the football every week, and like I said, Jane Daniels getting better and better. This is going to be a big game, and I may be biased here, but I am going to go with the Bucks in this game. I'm going to go with them 34-31. I think we're going to pull it out at home. Again, I think overall we're a better team than Washington right now. Will we be a better team than them the next year? Who knows? But I think for now, with the experience of the Bucks, I think it's going to be enough to pull this off. They're going to win this game. I'm going 34-31 over the Washington Commanders. Jim Melvin, he says, it's a huge cliche, of course, but the way to beat Jay Nails to keep him off the field. The Bucks have been great putting together 12-plus play drives that eat 5-plus minutes. Yep. Yeah, and that's what we got to do. We can't let the Commanders do that because they will do that. They'll take 4 or 5 minutes off the clock, especially late in games. So you're right about that, Jim. That's a good point. Then Jim also says, I see the Bucks winning 27-20 after leading 27-13 late. Okay. All right, like that. And Blackie Lawless, he says both Washington and the Bucks are different teams from week 1. Absolutely. And Blackie says the Bucks will beat the Commanders 31-27. All right. Well, let's hope, guys. Let's hope our Bucks can pull this out and get to the divisional round. That should be a fun game. Not wait to watch it. And Tampa Bay Race Fan 2008 says, I say 27-20 Bucks as well. All right. All right. And, the Bucks and who used to be the Redskins, they've had some great playoff games. Bucks won back in, I believe, 99. That wild game over the then Redskins. Who could forget that year? The Burt Emanuel game. I know that irks a lot of Bucks fans, but even if he had caught that ball, they called it a catch. The Bucks weren't going to win that game against the Rams. We had no offense. We had Sean King at quarterback. We weren't going to win that game, regardless. So, but we only held the Rams to 11 points, so we can at least say that we lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions. That damn Ricky Pearl. What could have been. Jim Melvin, he says the Bucks line has been really impressive. Yeah, they have been. Cody Mauch, Graham Barton, Tristan Wirfs. By the way, he got named All-Pro. Congratulations to Mr. Tristan Wirfs. Now he's an All-Pro on both the left side and the right side. So that's impressive. I mean, I knew the day we drafted him in 2020, like, oh, we got our guy. We got our guy for the next 10 years. It's going to be great. And what can I say? I mean, he's had some key penalties this year in some games, which kind of surprised me. That's normally not like him, but regardless, he's still one of the best tackles in all of football. Whether you put him on the left side or the right side, he's great. So congratulations to him on the All-Pro nod. Tampa Bay Race Fan 2008. Bucks D in the second half is solid. Yeah, especially last week. They held the Saints to, I think it was 6 points. Yeah, very impressive. And we see Ohio State scored a touchdown. They are now up 27-14. That's pretty much going to do it. So that sucks for me. I have to not eat dinner that night watching Notre Dame and Ohio State. Otherwise, I'm going to regurgitate every time I watch these two play. It's disgusting. Damn you, Texas. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's now 28-14 Ohio State. 2 minutes 13 seconds to go. They should move on to the national title game against Notre Dame on January 20th. Let's see. Tampa Bay Rays fan, 2008. 99 Bucks wide receivers were Riddell Anthony, Jaquez Green, Bert Emanuel, tight end Dave Moore. Sean King had a lollipop of an arm. That's putting it very lightly. Tampa Bay Rays fan. Sean King was just, let's just say he was Josh Johnson. Okay. And yes, we had Riddell Anthony, and then Shortquez Green, as I like to call him. Too many little guys as receivers. I'm glad we got Mike Evans. I mean, talk about a Hall of Famer. By the way, 1,000 yards again, 11th year in a row. I mean, ties Jerry Rice for the most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. You know, people say, "Oh, but he had played 17 games." Well, guess what? He didn't even play 17 games this year. He missed 4 of them, so he did it in 13. So there. So shut up. No. Makes it more impressive. Blackie says both Washington. Oh, you already said that. Blackie Lawless, 15-7 need big games. Yep. Absolutely. Freaking-lutely. Let's see. Ohio's Jim says I watched that Mike Evans replay about 50 times. Absolutely. I love it. I mean, you know, and there was a risk in that because, you know, and I know before that, you know, Bucky scored that touchdown. But so what? I mean, they're to win the game. The playoffs were on the line. You know, and then they were still able to get it to Evans. Now, again, it was a little risky because, you know, anything can happen. The ball could be intercepted, but they got Mike the 1,000 yards. You know, nobody was more happier than his teammates. And you got to think about this. That was a $3 million, you know, incentive to that. So he got paid an extra $3 million. You know, not that, you know, the money is important. I mean, Mike would probably tell you himself, I'd rather win the game. You know, the money's, but I know he wanted that record, and you know, props to him. He's been the star of that team. He was there since day one, and you got to realize something, that Mike Evans was Jason Light's first draft pick. So there's a special connection there. And you could argue that's probably the greatest draft pick Jason Light's ever made, was Mike Evans. You know, so there's that bond there that's inseparable, you know. And it's great to see. And it's paid off big time. And Evans, you know, you could argue maybe put him in the Mount Rushmore of Buccaneers. You know, who knows? So yeah, just congrats to him, props to him for that. Jim says Ohio State defense just made an incredible play to ice the game. Yeah. Ohio State, I hate him. Tampa Bay Rays fan, 2008. I have coworkers that were bragging about Notre Dame winning the championship. I wish that game would end in a tie in the national title game between Notre Dame and Ohio State. Just split it. Nobody cares. Except if you're a Notre Dame, Ohio State fan, you care, but I don't. They're going to have a Mike Evans Day in Tampa. Okay, cool. I know. I thought I saw something today. They gave him. I think it was Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, the wonderful governor of Florida, and gave him like the Mike Evans Day. I think that's what you're referring to, right? But he deserves it. 99% of the people in the world's lives would be changed with 3 million. Absolutely. But if you know Mike, he's probably the most humble dude in the NFL. You know, you never hear anything bad about him. He's just works his ass off. Him and Levante, I mean, they're first class, not only first class Hall of Famers, but first class individuals as well. You know, so it's good that the Buccaneers have been represented very well with these two guys. Just proud of them. And again, Jason Licht's first draft pick, Mike Evans. And doesn't get better than that, does it? Man, but I forgot we got one more game to pick. And that's Monday night between the Minnesota Vikings, who got whooped in Detroit. I thought that would be a better game, but Detroit's clearly the best team in football. I know people say Kansas City, maybe rightfully so, but Detroit, they look like they're on a mission. They want to win that Super Bowl. Not just get there, but win it. And they proved it against Minnesota. Minnesota, you just got to wonder, has the Sam Darnold luck run out? Maybe. But Monday night, it's going to be interesting. The Rams, I've been saying all season, if they got healthy, especially at the right time, this team could go on a run. Again, they got the offensive weapons. Matt Stafford, that offensive line just gives them time in the pocket. He's going to tear you apart. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, Kyren Williams. Johnson. They got a lot of great receivers on that team. They got weapons galore. And defensively, Jared Verse, shout out to Florida State. Could be replacing Aaron Donald. You can never be the next Aaron Donald, but he's certainly grown into being a very good defensive player. It's going to be a tough game for the Vikings on the road. I know people say it might be tough for the Rams too, especially if you had to move your game over to Arizona. But they play in Arizona once a year. It's in the division, so it still feel like a home game for the Rams in a way. I think the Rams are going to win this game. I really do. I don't trust Minnesota. Minnesota lost to them earlier on, I believe it was a Thursday night game. So, I think the Rams are going to take this one. I just think they're better offensively, and I get that, Minnesota has a great defense, but I just worried about the quarterback play. And I think I would take Stafford over Darnold in a heartbeat. Sam Darnold's have a phenomenal year, and he's going to get paid. But a lot of that's attributed to a great offensive line, which you got to have a great offensive line anyway, quarterbacks succeed. But also Aaron Jones, obviously you got the best receiver in the game, Justin Jefferson, Addison, Naylor. They got some weapons too, but I just think the Rams I think they got Minnesota's number, and I'm going to go with the Rams in this game. I'm going to go with them to beat Minnesota 27-24. I think Darnold does throw an interception in this game, could throw it late. And I got the Rams beating the Vikings. That would be a kind of a crappy way to end the year for Minnesota. Lose your last two games after being 14-2. I just don't trust Sam Darnold. I just don't, especially in these big games. And he struggled against Detroit twice. And he struggled against the Rams on that Thursday night game. So I am going to go with the Rams to beat the Vikings. All right, let's see. Well, here's a good question from Mr. TBU Race Fan 2008. Evans is the best light draft pick. Who's the second best? That's a great question. Jim says it's Tristan Wirfs. I would agree. I would agree with that. No, you know what? Well, I was going to say Vita Vea. I would say Vita Vea. Okay, I'm going to say Wirfs is the second best offensive pick Jason Licht's made. His best defensive pick was Vita Vea. So, yeah. I'm going Vita Vea on that one. Jim says Vea or David. Well, actually, Levante David was drafted before Jason Light got to Tampa. He was drafted in the 2011 draft out of Nebraska, and he was drafted by the phenomenal yet clueless Mark Dominic. So the one pick Mark Dominic got right. So how about that? Oh God, remember that guy? Man, whew. He did work contracts pretty well. I'll give him that much. But other than that, I mean, yeah, he's lousy. But I do give him credit. He did draft Levante David, so Mark does get his flowers for that one. Let's see, Wirfs or Godwin? I'm gonna go Wirfs. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm biased because I love offensive lines, but they're the lifeblood of your team. You know, it starts with the trenches, and you get a Hall of Famer in Wirfs. This is a great pick. And Godwin was great too. I mean, you know, you just worry about the injuries. I mean, and that's really unfortunate. You know, who knows what's going to happen? He's up for free agency this year. I think we'll resign him, but he might get a discount. Especially the Bucks might get a discount on it because you know the injuries. You know, will teams overpay him? You know, now that he's been injured twice in the last 3 years, which is unfortunate for Godwin. I mean, you know, because he is definitely a great receiver. But as far as you know, who's a better pick? I mean, they've both been great, but I would take Wirfs. I really would. And then Tampa Bay Rays fan. Don't forget Marpet. Yeah, that was a great pick as well. Absolutely. You know, why not? I mean, that was one of the best picks. Yeah, 100%. David was Shiano Dominic. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Why'd you have to say that name? Shiano. Woo. Woo. Yeah, it was supposed to be Chip Kelly that was supposed to take that job, but he was like, no, thank you. It's like, yeah, okay. We'll take you, Greg. 2 years later. Yeah. Jim Melvin, I'm convinced Godwin will sign a 1-year deal in the $10 million range. I could see that. No, 10 million. He might ask for more. He might get that Evans deal, like 2 years, 30 something million. Maybe 20 of it guaranteed. I could see that. You guys are right about David. Sorry about that. No, it's all good. It's all good, Jim. I mean, I would rather give credit to Jason Light instead of Mark Dominic, but that make me a liar, and I can't do that. So I would not lie to our fans here. So no, but you know, it's all good, Jim. But regardless, Levante has been a Bucks legend. Should get more respect than he does, but you know, the quiet ones, you know, don't get mentioned much. They stay quiet, they do their job. And but you want that leadership. And that's what Levante does. He's a leader, you know, a quiet leader, leads by example. And I couldn't be more prouder of Tampa Bay Buccaneers than I am Levante and Mike Evans as well. So, you know, it just shows you what a great organizations, you know, Light and Greenberg, you know how to run that program. Culture definitely changed, you know, after 2020, you know, so it's been a good decade for us so far. You know, and I get, you know, there are people that, some fans, some media saying that, you know, social media as well, that they should get rid of Todd Bowles. Is Todd Bowles a great coach? No, but you know, he's been consistent. You know, they've won division titles, so there's something to say for that. Um, you know, but he's not going to get fired this year. I know people were saying that. Oh, he's going to get rid. You know, we're going to promote Liam Cohen. I would say be careful what you wish for, because the Bucks did something similar. Well, they did that back in 2016. We all remember when Lovey was let go. Now, I'm not a fan of Lovey either. I think he's the most overrated coach in football. Uh, but they promoted, you know, Dirk Cutter, to head coach because they were afraid to lose him to like the Miami Dolphins, I believe it was. And we all know how that shitstorm turned out. This is awful. I mean, yeah, Jameis had great stats, but the interceptions just piled on. And the defense was horrible. You hired Mike Smith. Ugh, it's disgusting. What's Mike Smith doing these days? I know Dirk's over in Boise State, jerking it off, in the booth, as offensive coordinator. So, yeah. So, yeah, those were miserable times. But now that was then, this is now. We're a consistent playoff team. So, it's great to see. Let's see here. TV. David and Golson were Shiano and Dominic picks. Golson? Oh, William Golston. Yeah, I think that's who you're referring to. Yep. The other Golton, Deshaun Golton. Oh God, don't even start with that. He made a couple great plays for the 49ers, and then the dumbass signed him to a 3-year deal. That was pathetic. Yeah, William Golston's still going strong. Good depth. It's kind of what Anthony Nelson is. Kind of like our next William Golston. Consistent. And you know what? I want to say this too. We need to thank Anthony Nelson. You want to know why I thank him? Remember that Carolina game in Carolina when it went to overtime? And Carolina, all they had to do was score. They would win the game. They had the second possession. And Chuba Hubbard ran the ball, and then Nelson stripped them of the football, knocked it out. And the Bucs recovered. And they were able to go down the field. Chase McLaughlin kicks the game winner. So props to Anthony Nelson. Got to give him credit. People kind of forget that, but that's what turned it around for the Bucs. They were able to, except for that blunder in Dallas, the Bucs were able to hold off and win this division. And who knows if Carolina would have won that game, how different this might have been. Glad we'll never know. But again, props to Anthony Nelson. Got to thank him for that one. But anyway, I'm just telling you, he's kind of like our William Golson. A good reserve defensive player. It's probably going to be here a while, so it's great to see. Jim says, I loved seeing David and Evans hug on the sideline at the end of the Saints game. Oh, yeah. They love each other. They've been there. They've been the foundation of this Bucs franchise since day one, since they've came into the league. And it was great to see Levante and Mike get that Super Bowl, after going through the shit they went through, the previous regimes, bad coaching, and it paid off for them. They stuck around, and they're two legends, man, and future Hall of Famers without a doubt. I know it'll probably be tougher for Levante to get in, but I think he eventually does. That Nelson game was the only game this season that the Bucs should have lost. There were at least 5 losses they should have won. Yeah, 2 games against Atlanta. I still can't get over that one. Chiefs game, Todd, why don't you go for 2? You could have went for 2 in that game. Well, the weather's a factor, and like, come on. See, this is what I didn't like about Bulls. Take chances. You had a chance to give the Chiefs their first loss of the year. You're like, nah, we're gonna kick the extra point and go to overtime and take our chances with Mahomes and okay, well, we know how that turned out. But anyway, it didn't matter because we're still in the playoffs. So maybe we'll have a shot at the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl. Who knows? Let's see. Jim says, well, they probably should have lost that last Saints game as well. Yeah, we didn't play a good first half. I thought the team looked uninspired. We knew the Saints were going to try to be spoilers. Thank God Carolina beat Atlanta. I mean, it might have not mattered anyway, but still, we didn't know that at the time. We had to win that game just to make sure. We did not want to take any chances. So Yeah, we could have lost that game easily. Ron, Bucks Fanatic, McClary, thanks for watching. How you doing tonight, sir? He said, I think he may have been referring to the Sean Goldson. Well, no, Goldson was 49ers free agent. I think Tampa Bay Rays fan, he's talking about Wood Goldson. So he's been around since 2011. But yeah, but thanks for coming in, Ron. Appreciate that. You making a comment tonight? Tampa Bay Rays fan one more time says they should have beat the 49ers. Horrible play calling by Cohen at the 9-yard line and bad personnel there on 3 downs. Yeah, that too. I mean, of course, Niners kicker Jake Moody missed 3 field goals in that game. Of course, he had to kick the game winner in that one. Ain't that a bitch? But yeah, those are just bad play calling. I agree that he didn't have his best game, and again, that's why I say let's kind of hold off on the whole promote Liam Cohen. Oh, we gotta promote him. Like, come on, we did that. Remember how that turned out last time, like 10 years ago? No, I don't. And listen, I think Liam Cohen might be a head coach one day. I'm not bagging on the guy, but he's still got to call plays. He's got to build his resume up a little bit. And we're all quick to rush here. And again, am I the biggest Todd Bowles fan? No, I don't think he's a great coach, but there's something to be said for consistency. And the players love him. They play hard for him. You can't deny that. If players play hard for you, then you're a good coach. You're not a great coach, but you're a good coach, and they're gonna play hard for you. So, yeah. So there is something to be said about that. William Golson's brother was a former first-round bust for the New York Jets. Oh, okay. Speaking of the Jets, woo, boy, you want to talk about a team that I think the Jets are now 14 years without a playoff appearance, longest streak in professional sports. It's pathetic. I mean, and Aaron Rodgers is gone. He's going bye-bye. Yeah, that was a disaster. And before anybody asks, am I going to watch that documentary on Netflix? I hate Aaron Rodgers, but I am kind of curious to see it. So who knows? But I did see the New York the New York Sack Exchange, the ESPN Plus 30 for 30. Pretty good. Klecko, Gastineau. Man, they were great. Yeah, it's funny. They showed a clip where Gastineau was at a convention. Brett Favre was right there. Gastineau, he's bred of, sliding on that Strahan record-breaking sack. Yeah, it was. Brett slid. He's like, oh, here you go. Here you go, Mike. I mean, come on. I think we all know Brett took a dive for literally took a dive for Mr. Strahan to get that record. Wonder how much Mike. Hey Mike, here I'll slide for you. just touch me and you got your sack. That sounded wrong. Just touch me and you got your sack. Well, I mean, Brett Favre did send a dick pic to Jennifer Sturger, so who knows? Oh man. Anyway, Jim Melvin. The best thing about the Bucks heading into 2025 is that many of their best players are young. One more strong draft will make them formidable for several seasons. Yeah, and eventually we're gonna have to draft, Levante's replacement again. I'm sure Levante's gonna play another year or so, but there's that time where he may call it quits. So they do have to build eventually. Having to fill those spots, and we do need it. We need a defensive end, another linebacker. I'd like to get another corner. I think this draft. I know we're very early on. The draft is until April. Blah blah blah. But we do need to. I think we need to go defensive heavy in this draft. I really do. I really do. Maybe get a guard. Get a guard. On the offensive line. So that's what I think. I do. And Tampa Bay Ray fan, he said that Gervonta Davis could be the inside linebacker of the future, but his health is and that's the thing. Yeah, that's a great point. Tampa Bay Rays fan, is his health. Gervonta has been hurt. And that's you just got to wonder, like, can you count on this guy? I mean, that's why I'm saying, yeah. And KJ Britt was garbage. I mean, he didn't replace Devin White, please. So yeah, we need to hopefully Servassier can get healthy and be that guy, but he's got to be on the field to do that, consistently. Yeah, here's one. Gastineau dated Bridget Nelson, who married Flavor Flav, yeah. And then she started out with Sylvester, so wore his ass out. Oh man. And the Bucks have 21 free agents, yeah. I saw that list too. Some decisions to be made, but the good thing with guys like Light, Greenberg, Spytek, those guys, they know how to work those contracts. So, I don't see why you're not going to sign all of them, but they're going to keep the majority of them, and they're going to get. I think they're going to re-sign Godwin. I mean, they'll have some kind of deal, maybe like a 2-year, $30 million, 20 guaranteed, somewhere around that range. That's what I predict. Yeah, and then we got Baker. We're good for a couple years. The great Kyle Trask will be a free agent. And that's going to be something. We're going to have to sign a backup quarterback. I don't know if Trask is going to resign. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But I don't know. Jameis is a free agent. Don't go there. We're not doing that. All right. Ron says, I think we. Oh, wait. Yeah, right, that one. Ron, Bucks fan, Maddox McCleary, we need to revive our pass rush big time. I absolutely agree. I miss those days having JPP on the edge, and Simeon Rice. I miss that guy as well. We need somebody like that. Give me like 12 to 14 sacks a year, that's what I want. I want that defensive end. But with the 3-4 that Bulls runs, it's usually going to be a lot of linebackers getting those sacks, but still, be nice to get a defensive end, unlike Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who I think needs to go. Sorry, I just think he does. That's one of the few light bad picks that he made. So, yeah, we're going to have to definitely draft a defensive end. The only offensive side of the ball they will draft is offensive guard or maybe offensive tackle. Skull is a free agent, and Bredesen is in as well. Yeah, I'm not high on Bredesen. I know he's getting a little older. Skull, he's a good reserve. Can't have him start though. So yeah, but I do think we need to get a guard in the offensive side of the ball. I think we're good on receivers. Running backs are good. Tight ends were fine. Cade Otton, hopefully he gets healthy. Along with Payne Durham, who I think is a nice little backup tight end. I like him. I like the name Payne. Anytime your name's Payne, you got to bring the pain. So, Bucks fan, go big on free agency on a pass rusher. Yeah, Myles Garrett. Yeah, I'll take Myles Garrett. Get out of that shithole organization in Cleveland. Which, by the way, Deshaun Watson, fortunately, and I know I don't like him. but I don't wish anything bad. Tore his Achilles again. Now he's going to miss the 2025 season. So that'll worst contract in NFL history, easily. He's getting all his money guaranteed. Man, that fan base suffered. They've suffered long enough. They really have. Feel for him. Jim says, great show. Per usual, go Bucks. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for coming on and commenting on YouTube. Appreciate that. Tampa Bay Rays fan as well. Thank you. And Tampa Bay Rays fan, speaking of, he says Khalil Mack is a free agent as well. Yeah, I mean, we could go either way. My preference would be Myles Garrett. He's a beast. Khalil's kind of getting down, up there in age. Myles is a little bit younger, a couple years younger. And he's a beast. He's a no-nonsense guy. I would love to have a Myles Garrett. I mean, if we get Khalil, we get Khalil. But if I had a choice, I'd take Myles Garrett all day. Just as long as he doesn't have the opponent's helmet in his hand swinging at it, everything should be fine. So, I'm kidding. Oh, man. Well, with that being said, I'll go over it one more time. If anybody's just tuned in, I made my picks for the playoffs for this weekend's wild card matchup. I got the Chargers over the Texans, Ravens over the Steelers, Bills over the Broncos, Eagles over the Packers, my Buccaneers over the Commanders, and the Rams over the Vikings. So those are my picks for the week. Detroit and Kansas City, the 1 seeds, they have the week off. And let's get this playoff. Let's get it going, man. I am ready. I'm ready for the postseason, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait. One more comment. Everybody, a Rays fan. Can you see Cousins going to Cleveland to reunite with Stefanski? It's possible. That wouldn't surprise me. But Cousins is over. It's over with for him. It's the Michael Penix era in Atlanta now, so probably. Who knows? All right. With that being said, everybody, I'm going to take off. Man, great episode tonight of Have At It. Episode 77, Wildcard Weekend. Thanks for everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate it. And like I said, give me a like, share, and follow on my YouTube channel, Ben Cornett 9015, on Facebook in the Ben Zone, as well as on X at BennyBoy702, and on my Instagram. If you're an Instagrammer, follow me there at Ben702 forever. So that being said, thank you, Tampa Bay Rays fan. Love the show, Ben. Thank you. Appreciate that. And guys, we will see you next time on Have It, whatever that is, because again, it's going to be random. No longer, well, it could be Fridays, could be Mondays, could be Saturdays, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever day of the week, whenever I'm available, we will have At It show for you right here on my YouTube channel and in Facebook. So check it out. Everybody, have a great weekend. Hope you enjoy the playoffs. And yes, I'm going to be biased. Hopefully our Bucks win. Let's go Bucks. And we'll see you next time right here on Have At It. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.